So like, but I was saying how a lot of Israelite camps are going to use that, to justify the actions and the particular things are going to come upon this earth. I can already see them. They used it for the jab. A lot of niggas, well, you gotta obey the laws of the land, and it's funny because that's a nigga mindset. Because even my dad has told me that, about you gotta obey the laws of the land. That what the scriptures say. Yes, you're right. We do gotta obey the laws of the land. And I rebel against the order that the Lord has set up. But the elder went into it beautifully. He said it essentially to establish like a military to come up against them. Like it said in Corinthians, our weapons of warfare are not carnal but spiritual. So like if I quoted the wrong chapter. But that's essentially going into building up an army, send up an army to go against the powers that the Lord has set up. You see? So, but a lot of people are using that to, well, this and that. And when you think about the scriptures, Paul was coached up by Yahushua. And what did Yahushua say? He said that he came to fulfill the law. You see, he came to fulfill the law. So that's why it's important, to know the history, because when you look throughout the history, there was countless men of the Lord that went against the law of the land when it intervened with their service towards Yahweh Basham Shah. A lot of times, Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the whole Maccabean revolt, the Maccabean revolt. And you got countless more throughout the scriptures, but you got a lot of examples of men of the Lord coming up against the laws of the land when they go against the beliefs, and are sacrificed to Yahweh Basham Shah. You see? So I want to read this real quick because that's why this is one of my favorite verses, man. This is one of the reasons why it's written, man, because you got to look aforetime. You got to look at the examples that the Lord has placed in the scriptures to give us closure on particular situations. To give us closure, understanding on particular things. And one of those understandings is on Romans 13. It doesn't make sense for this whole time as it speaks about in Malachi, I am the Lord, I change not, ye sons of Jacob not consumed. Oh shit. Salaki. My bad, Aki. Nah, but it doesn't make sense why you got a particular. It doesn't make sense why it went throughout the scriptures where it says doesn't. You have men of the Lord that go against the law of the land, and scriptures say how the Lord changed not. So it doesn't make sense for it. All of a sudden now we get to the Roman captivity and now the Lord's perspective has changed. Now it's like, okay, now you do got to bow down to the laws of the land if they come up against my order. Doesn't make sense. Did not Yahushua say to Elijah that he had what? He had 7,000 men that went to bow down to the image of Baal. Well, Daniel in the golden image, the golden statue, my bad, it's the golden statue. That was pretty much a prelude to essentially what Esau's going to do. That's what it was. Even in the Medo-Persian Empire, that was pretty much a prelude to what Esau's going to do. Esau's going to have a decree go out in the earth where you're going to be required to bow down to his image, and if you don't do that, there's going to be consequences that come along with that. That's what's coming upon this earth, man. You see, so you telling me that, when that happens, y'all going to bring out Romans 13:11 and this is going to be the justification to why we're taking a C-hip? No, man. That's not what that scripture's used for. You see? So I'm going to read this real quick. This is Romans chapter 15, verse 4. And it says, for whatsoever were written aforetime were written for our learning. Right? So the particular things that the Lord has documented throughout the scriptures aforetime are written for our understanding, written for our learning. You see, so we're supposed to learn from it, look at the examples, and apply them to our lives. Right? It says that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. You see? So we're going to see particular men. So if you're sitting there battling your head like, damn, the scriptures do say don't go against the laws of the land, but at the same time, I don't want to take C-hip, And then this is for a newer brother, because the brothers more seasoned will understand that concept. This scripture says, look at the forefathers. Look at your forefathers. What did they do? Essentially, they pretty much leaned on the Lord. You know, they didn't bow down to the particular idols, the particular things that were set up. You see? Hold on, Akim.